Hmm. All right. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. See if I can adjust the microphone a bit. How y'all doing? Hope you're well. Just setting some stuff up. Good morning. Had to reinstall my streaming software, folks, so I'm kind of just recalibrating a couple things, setting some stuff back up, and I'm going to be making stuff shortly. And yeah, just hang tight and we will get started shortly. And I think we're more or less there. I think we can run from this point in time. Let's see, program name. Why? Okay. Just information. Good morning from Turkey. Hey, how's it going? Center. Suddenly, there we go. All right. So let us run Comfy UI. From Vegas. Right on. How's it going? Willie on the Road to Utopia. That's a hell of a name. I love that name. Let's turn this up a touch. Okay, is that a little better, hopefully, volume-wise? Just playing with the levels, folks. Well, thank you. Thank you, Scary Life. I appreciate you. I love you too. Let's do the following. I think we can afford to bring this down a bit to about right there, I would say. And we can move this down as well to about right there. And finally, let's move me down as well. There we go. A little bit better. Stream, I think. Yeah. There we are. Zeus with lightning. It's a cool idea. Let's do a new workflow. We will clear the workspace and we'll start fresh, which is always fun. So we'll start with a load checkpoint. I think for our model, we will go with Realism by Stable Yogi. Drag out the model, drag it into a K sampler. We'll need an empty latent as well, so do the empty latent at 1024 by 1024. No, that's wrong, actually. We don't want it to be that high. Let's go with 512 by 512. Oh, thank you, Charming. I'm Charming. I really appreciate that comment. I really do. Let's do V8 decode, preview, VAE, and let's do some positive and negative prompts for conditioning. Just so the AI knows what to actually make. There we are. Let's test it out. An apple. Are we in a good spot to make an image? Just a rudimentary kind of thing? Yeah, I think we're good. So we've just made our first image. Oh, love from India. Nice. Very cool. Nice to meet you. Now we are going to start masking stuff, and we're also going to add the animation modules because we want to animate the darn stuff. So let's put that there. Let's put that over here. And will this go before or after the prompts? I need to jog my memory. Oh, it will go before. It's not even on the prompt chain, so. Zeus with lightning is a cool idea, bro. Let me go ahead and generate something in the background, image-wise, and we will animate it shortly as I set up my workflow. So let's just do Zeus with lightning. Let's make it realistic. And by the way, folks, I'm using ideogram.ai for my image needs tonight. It's a very, very good AI image generator. Very competitive with the likes of Midjourney and others. And at the moment is probably my favorite. You are not generating shit. The AI is. Oh, okay. If that's the way you want to look at it, you're entitled to your opinion. I believe personally a hell of a lot. Oh, Jesus, I can't talk tonight. A lot more goes into it than just pressing a button, and I stand by that. It's taken me several months to get this good with the software, so yeah. AI art is art. Hey Bennett, I just want to say I'm deeply in love with your work. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Wilm Film. Let's do, we're going to add the animate diff in. We're going to start with our evolved sampling node and kind of cascade down from there. Just knock it off one at a time. The first will be model. And that will be, let me try and remember. Animate diff loader, I want to say. Yeah, there we go. Also need the model itself. Let me see if I recall how to do this without having to refer to an old workflow. I'm trying to set it up from scratch. I'm trying to get a lot better at that. Evolve sampling, animate diff loader. Yes, that looks right. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. We need to pass the model on through. The model, though, will go, yes, from here into there. That looks good. Okay. Why do they both have input? It's for model. Oh, I think I understand. Yeah, that goes to there. Okay. Now context options. Loop to uniform because we want it to loop, and then we need a optional motion LoRa, but I'll use one in this case. We'll set it to 0.8. And we're going to need a couple more here. M models. Okay, I forfeit. I can't quite remember every step. I'm almost there, but tonight I need some help. So, M model is plugging into this. Is it? What was the name of the image generator site I was using? It's called ideogram.ai. Ideogram. Okay. Let me think this through. We have the context option. We have evolved sampling, through which the model comes and goes. And also, M model goes... Oh, I see. Okay, we don't need this animate diff loader. That's not required here. But we will need M models is... Okay. Got it. Received loud and clear. Motion model. Right. A bit rusty, folks, but we're almost there. We'll be animating shortly here. Motion model, motion LoRa, good, good. Scale multival, okay. Now we're on to something. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. It's a stack of 6. And without any further ado, let's see if we can animate this. I think we're finally in a good spot for it. So, cue prompt. Let's see what we get. In fact, let me trigger the motion LoRa to do its thing. With trigger word of zoom in, because it's a zoom in LoRa. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate you. I worked pretty hard on it. It looks like we're good. It looks like it's animating something for us. Thank goodness. So let me try and just memorize exactly the stack I set up for Animate Diff. Animate Diff, by the way, folks, is the model that extends Stable Diffusion to do animation instead of just static images. And it needed this kind of elaborate cluster of nodes to really get going, which I thought I had memorized. Evidently, I had not. I needed some help, so referred back to an old workflow just to finish it up. And hopefully the next time around I can do this by memory. But I did just about fine. Okay, what will we get? Video combine is what we're going to need for the node. Okay, we're going to want to make that H.2.4, 12 frames. Let's see how that looks. Oh no, I didn't set the seed to fixed. Well, in any event, it did work, as you can see in the preview image here. It's not the most beautiful video, but at least it's a sign that it works. Which software is this? This software is called Comfy UI, as you can see at the top of your screen. Comfy UI. It's a free piece of software. It's open source, and it's a lot of fun. It's very powerful, very capable, very modular. This is taking a tad too long. The reason is because I'm not using LCM. Let's set the steps to 12, CFG down to 2. Samplers should be LCM, since that's what we're working with. LCM is much faster than standard models, for animation, that is. And let's see if we get any better results this time around. Yep, going quite a bit faster. While that's rendering though, let us set up our IP adapter, which will give us a digital set of eyes for our image input. Also, let's take a look at our Zeus image. Let's see what we got there. Nice. He's got too many limbs, but it's pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I like this. Let's work with that. Yeah, I think we can work with that. Alright, so IP adapter lives on the conditioning chain. Is that right? Nope, it lives on the model chain. And so we're going to need our unified loader. It's our starting point for our IP adapter. And that will receive our model right here, which will come after animate diff. So basically where animate diff connects into our case sampler, this little noodle right here, go away. We want to intercept this transmission with our IP adapter. So I'm going to click this little circle to add a node. And I wish it would let me search for it. Maybe I'll have to just add it differently. Yeah, so let's just add it differently. Let's do unified. So I'm going to plug that in and then plug that in. So as you can see, I've intercepted the transmission with our IP adapter, which again will allow us to use a digital set of eyeballs to scan images and derive prompts from those images. We're going to use plus high strength. And we're going to add some IP adapters. IP adapter. We're going to have to run the model through that a couple times. So do that, do that, do that. And we're going to need IP adapters as well. There we go. Perfect. And now let's add some image inputs, shall we? So that image there, that image there. And we're going to want to create a mask as well. Create shape mask. And let's mask to image. Let's see what we get from this mask creator before we make our animation. Let's turn everything off real quick. Whoops. Turn those off. Turn our IP adapter off. So I only want to run the create shape mask node. I don't want anything else running so that I can test this out first. So as you can see, it's only creating a circle for now. Hey Naveen, how's it going? Much love. So by default, it's creating an ellipse for us, or a circle. We want it to be a square, or at least I do. So under shape, we're going to choose square. We're going to make it about 256 by 256 because the overall frame is 512 by 512, so about half that. And the location is going to be 256 across, 256 down, X and Y. Let's see what we get. Should be centered. Yes, it is. And that's going to be our mask. Now that we have our mask, we're going to turn everything back on and start plugging our mask in. So we're going to plug the mask into our first image here. And I'm also going to use the negative of this mask over for our second IP adapter. What that's going to allow is that this black space that you see surrounding the white cube, this will be the space reserved for our second image. The little white square will be the space reserved for our first image as far as what it paints. So the first image will get painted into this white square. Second one will be painted around it in the black area. And the reason for that is because I've used mask inverted over on our second image. What is it that you are doing right now? Looks super interesting. Thanks, Hunter. Yeah, so I am playing with a program called Comfy UI, which is mainly for AI image generation and video generation. And specifically right now, I'm about to try and make a basic little video, but by using a mask to dictate where I want the design to paint. So like, in essence, I'm going to have part of the image painted in the white and then the rest of it painted in black. And the program will intelligently blend those two sections together in a really interesting way. So let me find a second image for that second IP adapter. Let's just find something from the gallery here. Any old thing will do. Let's use this. This is cool. Kind of a hellish landscape. We'll use that for image number 2. And I think we should basically be in a good spot. What happens if we hit Q prompt? I know I'm forgetting something, but we're about to find out in real time. Video above my screen, is that AI generated? Yes, I generated that with the program that you see right here. the one that I'm using right now. Right. So I'm liking what I see so far. I think we're going to get something interesting here. How much of your work was inspired by psilocybin? It's always reminded me of such, especially with the Bushbongle. Oh, 100%. But yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of it is certainly inspired by that headspace, that parallel dimension from which many bizarre ideas are derived. I would give a lot of credit to that in my work. Ooh, this is sick. This is pretty cool. I mean, it's not that dynamic. It's not a lot going on, which I can change. But what's important is that you can see our Zeus figure is now centered in this white region. I'll even bring it down here for reference. So the hellish landscape is in the black area and Zeus is in the white area, as you can plainly see here. So that's kind of the idea for masking in a nutshell. Hey Harsh, I'm doing well. How are you? Oh, thank you, King Friday. I appreciate you. Let me think now which direction we can take this in. What if we do a dancing Zeus? Dynamic movement. I'm wondering why the animation is not very well animated. And I'm going to play with a few different settings to see if I can't do something about it. I have some theories. Actually, let's adjust the negative prompt so we don't get any nudity or anything that isn't safe for work. That's always important for streaming purposes. So we've added that into our negative prompt, which I will also color code for easy visual cues. Red is negative, green is positive, generally speaking. Generally speaking, anything in the green now will be listened to by the AI, and in the red, everything in here will be ignored. Or rather, the AI will do its best to not include whatever's written in here in your final output. Am I a prompt engineer or mainly just doing this as a hobby? That's an interesting question. I guess my answer would be it is a hobby, but I also do it professionally because I work with clients a lot, and I will just take custom requests and basically make a video to their specification using this software. But there's quite a bit that goes into it a lot of the time because they have some pretty specialized needs. So okay. This is obviously, there's not a lot really going on. Let me think this through why I might be doing that. So let's look at our animate diff settings. That looks okay, that looks okay. This might be what's bottlenecking us. Let's try a different beta schedule. Typically we'll use something like square root linear animate diff. I think that's going to make all the difference personally. Let's see what happens. And also, as that's generating, let's start to set up our IP adapters, or rather our control nets, because that's going to come in real handy soon. So, control net, there's a certain one that I use. Is it this one? I think it's this one. I think it's this one. Okay, so we got that. We're gonna need the actual control net model. So let's load that in. We'll probably use QR monster is fine. Let's see how our video turns out here, by the way. In just a moment. Okay, so still not a lot going on, I'm afraid. Now, maybe the reason for that is because it's placing too much emphasis on the mask. So what if we go ahead and bypass our mask and try it without the mask? See if it adds a little more dynamic movement to our effect. I do it as a hobby, but knows a huge shift in companies to incorporating AI entirely. We're about 70-30. Oh gee, really? Yeah, no, that's not surprising to me at all. companies are globbing onto AI like it's nobody's business right now. Like it's pretty crazy how fast people are adopting it and replacing most of their operations with it. Which, on one hand, I definitely understand, because it's massively more efficient than not using it. But it's also not so good for job security. Unless, of course, you get to know the AI and learn about it and learn how to wield it correctly and efficiently and position yourself in the market as such. Oh no, okay, so this is still not... It's not moving. It's not, like, doing anything. Why would that be the case? Models, motion LoRa, scale, context options. Oh, is context options not plugged in? There we are. I haven't actually plugged the context options in. I think that's going to make a world of difference now. So in fact, I'm going to turn our mask back on. I think I just solved it, you guys. And with any luck, our animation will actually be an animation this time instead of just like a still image that's slightly flickering. Egyptian, and this is considered the best content. Oh, thank you so much. That's a very nice thing for you to say. I really do try and make these educational and entertaining. But thank you. Yeah, a lot of creatives are a bit nervous, but for me, I'm totally for AI, because now shifts from being creative to being conceptual. Learning how to... Yeah, very interesting way to look at it. Good perspective. I mean, it's obviously very threatening to a lot of people, and there's no shortage of voices online who are very clear about that. And like, listen, I totally get it. It's displacing a lot of jobs, upending a lot of industries, and that's always going to be really scary. I mean, this is definitely one of the scarier instances in history of this kind of thing happening, perhaps the most dramatic example. But it still doesn't mean that you can't adapt and run with it and roll with the punches. Ooh, look at that. Now we're getting somewhere. Ooh, dude, that's gnarly. It's like Zeus took a little sabbatical down in hell, didn't he? Sick. This is so dope looking. Yeah, no kidding. It is moving rapidly. It seems like every week there's a new advancement, either in AI video, AI music, AI image. Everything is just evolving at breakneck pace. For sure, man. Thanks for stopping in. It was fun talking to you. Hope to see you again. So let's keep this train going. This is a really solid generation. I dig this. And there's so many other directions I could go in with this. I could even just call it a day and upscale this and then upload it, because it's so interesting. I like what's going on. So really, though, the cool thing with what I'm doing here with ControlNet, which I'm in the process of setting up, this will allow even finer attention to our mask. Like, especially if we have like a moving mask, something that's animated, our ControlNet will do a very excellent job at tracing the contours of that video and following the edges precisely as it's painting our video. So think of ControlNet as a more advanced mask versus what you see here. A more advanced way to use masks. Hey, I can't try my big rig yet. Yeah, no, I think that's got definitely some job security for a little while. That's a good play. But given enough time, I really don't see any occupation surviving the AI wave. Not really. I mean, if you can learn to adapt and stay relevant, that's what it's going to be about. But it's not going to be pretty. So I want to plug in our ControlNet, which I think I will do. Yes, I will. ControlNet comes after our prompting, so just for horizontal ordering of things for visual reference, it's basically start with a load checkpoint, then you go on to animate diff stack, then you go on to the actual conditioning, then we're going to plug in our ControlNet. This is pretty much, I mean, generally Comfy UI moves in a left to right fashion if you want to think about it hierarchically. And this is just, you know, an easier way to visualize that, the way I've laid things out. And we can also group things as well. I think if we add things into a group, that wouldn't be such a bad idea. So let's group things for better visual cue. That'll be in a group, this will be in a group, this will be in a group. And then our control net as well will be in a moment. Let me, though, place these in a group as well. This will be our final output group right on over there. And let's see, where should IP adapter go in the order of things? I guess after the control net's fine. So let's take our stack of IP nodes, including our mask, because we're going to want to keep using that. Let's just neatly stack these as best as we can. Then we're going to group them, move them on down here. And now we can finish up our control net. So let's do that. We want the positive and negative to move on over to K-sampler, like so. We should be okay there. Let's also plug this into our image. So basically the mask that we just generated earlier today with this create shape mask, we're going to use that as our input for the control net. So it's going to use that to trace over. We'll even move the preview down here so that we know what we're working with. And I guess we'll start with a 0.8 for the strength. Should be all right. And I think we're good to go, more or less. Let's give it a shot. Blast my mind, yes. It is my intention to do the best that I can in that regard. Ooh, I have an idea as well. As this is generating, let's queue something else up. I have some moving masks that we can start plugging things into as well. So we're going to have load video path. Paste that right on in here. Whoops. Okay, we're going to use this momentarily as our mask. As you can see, it's animated. But first, let's see what we get using this static cube. And then we'll move on to the motion mask. What exactly am I doing here? Great question. I am playing with a program called Comfy UI, and Comfy UI is best known for creating AI images and videos using a node-based platform, as you can see by this elegant arrangement of nodes that all talk to one another, do different things, and result in fun stuff like this by the very end of it. Ooh, okay, so our new result here. So the before is on the left, the after is on the right. The only real difference I've made here is instead of our standard basic mask from before, we've enhanced our masking capabilities by using our control net, which I'll add into a group here. And by doing so, it's basically just a more elaborate interpretation of our mask. And it's also going to allow us to use a video mask, which I'm about to do right now. But they're more or less the same with some various compositional differences. Although, let's now have some more fun. Let's plug in our video. So plug that right on into the control net input. And I think that should be all we need to do. Yeah, let's give that a shot. Also, though, it's not that long of a video. It's only about 48 frames long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the frame count of our input video and use that as the reference globally for any other node that needs to know the amount of frames that we're using. So I'm going to convert. Do I need to convert? No, it already has an output for the frame count, which is great. So I'm going to take that output, plug it into our latent image, empty latent, which requires a batch size. I'm going to convert that widget into an input so that it can be plugged into other things. And we're going to plug that into our frame count of our load video. So now what I've basically done is I've synced up the amount of frames in this video across the rest of the program. So it will reference this video whenever it needs to know that information. You know? Is Stable Diffusion running locally? Yes, it is. I'm running all of this locally right now. Host a masterclass. I would love to. And in fact, I'm in the process of creating an online course, which is really exciting to me. And I will be announcing more about in the coming days and weeks. I'd like to release it in a few weeks, maybe about a month or a month and a half at the latest, but you'll find a lot of information in it. Once I do release it, it's going to cover the fundamentals of Comfy UI, what a lot of these different nodes do, their functions, like what the heck you're even looking at, frankly. And trying just to demystify it as best as I can for an audience that really has no freaking idea what's going on. That's going to be my task, is to simplify it as much as I can so that by the end you can hopefully make stuff as elaborate as this right here. Hopefully, keyword. Ooh. Okay. Gnarly. Yeah, that's dope. That's really cool. So basically what you're looking at here, if it isn't obvious, and I wouldn't expect it to be, is it's taken our video mask right here, the black and the white, and it's painted over the black and the white sections respectively based on how I've told it. Like, I think I told it to use the white space to paint the Zeus imagery, and the black space is used for the hellish imagery. So it's like Zeus, hell, is kind of following the pattern and movement of this input mask, as you can clearly see. It's pretty sick. Actually, let's, this is better. Okay, now it's, now it probably makes more sense because the frame rate is the same. And yeah, pretty sick. Pretty sick, but what I'm going to do now is actually reduce the strength of our control net because it's way too heavy-handed. Let's bring it down to 0.4. And what that's going to do, from bringing it from 0.8 down to a 0.4, it's going to dramatically de-emphasize the contours of our mask, which will basically allow the AI to hallucinate a lot more of its own detail versus letting this bleed through into the final result. And that will become very evident in a few short seconds once you see the new video that's being generated. To something funny, I don't really know what I could do that's funny right now. Not the most, like, comedically on point. Sometimes I say something that's funny, but it's more kind of an unexpected occurrence. And I'm also exhausted. It's midnight, bro. But I hope you're enjoying your time in here anyway. Comedy streamer, do something funny on camera, please. Please be the funny man. This'll be sick. Just go look at the art on his page. Yes. Go and melt your brain on my page. Ooh. Beautiful. So now, as you can hopefully see quite vividly, is that... So, okay, so the one in the middle now is our newest video that we just made about 10 seconds ago. And this was the result of me lowering the control net strength versus the one here where it was quite a bit higher. And by lowering it, you can see that the black and white video does not bleed through quite as much. It's a lot more subtle. And in fact, if I bring that down even lower, I'm going to try 0.2 now. Make it even more invisible to the eye. Because that's really the idea. We don't want a whole lot of evidence of this mask to bleed through. Not really. So let's try and kill it. Grids are super detailed. Do you do the upscaling here? I do, yeah. I do the upscaling inside of Comfy, and I also even do it inside of Topaz AI at the very, very end. I kind of use Topaz as like my polishing step of things. I don't rely on it for a lot of like the fine-grained details that the AI is good at hallucinating. I more so use it just to like sharpen the final results just ever so slightly more. Hey Glock, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Oh, and what kind of PC specs do I have? I have a 4090, a Core i9 Intel, and about 64 gigs of memory. So, fairly beefy. Not required, but if you want to take this stuff seriously, I would highly recommend investing in decent hardware, because the software side of things will not be your bottleneck for price. It's pretty much all free to use software, but the hardware is obviously where you're going to want to invest. Okay, and now, as you can see, it's not as interesting, but because I've brought that control net all the way down to 0.2, we basically see no evidence remaining of our black and white mask. But that's where the creative process really exists in here, is playing with those weights, playing with those values, and comparing the results across all of these right here. Like right here's high strength, medium strength, and then low strength. It's a lot of fun. So fun. Okay, where should we go from here? I have an idea. Let's use one of my favorite video masks, which looks a little something like this. Actually, let's duplicate that. And we're going to use this now. Look at this beauty right here. We're going to use that as our motion mask. Obviously quite a bit more detailed than the circle. And I'm also going to change our model for the control net to depth, so that we can derive a depth map from this video, because it has a lot more depth, as you can see, a lot more grays and detail. So let's bump the control net back up to 0.4, and let's give it a rip. Let's see what we get. And also let's, for reference, we'll have it right next to the result. So that is now rendering in the casing. Where do I get these mask maps? Good question. Sometimes I make them myself. Other times I find interesting videos on the web that look like they would be a really interesting motion reference for my videos. So, and then I'll like derive a depth map from it, or just use the right control net to capture it. But yeah, they kind of come from all kinds of places. I would encourage you to really get creative with that. I'd like to get a lot better at Blender though, so that I can really start making a lot more of my own masks, you know, beyond just like the basic kinds of shapes. But until then, I'm pretty content. Oh, and do you make the images in Comfy? I do sometimes make the images in Comfy. Other times I'll use things like this right here, which is a site called ideogram.ai, which is really good. And of course, my old favorite, Midjourney. I use Midjourney for a lot of stuff as well. So I kind of rotate between those. But I do also generate my own Stable Diffusion images in Comfy from time to time. Please say hi, Turkey. Hi, Turkey. Hello, everybody from Turkey. But this might be kind of a long video, because again, as if you remember, we're using the same frame count as whatever our input video has. And since we've loaded in a new video now, we're probably Yeah, we're passing in more frames now at about 120 frames this time around, which is quite a bit more than before, but that's okay. We're almost done with this video. Let's see where we're at time-wise. And hello to everybody messaging me on YouTube as well. I'm seeing your comments just now, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to you sooner, but yes, hello. I'm happy to have you. Architectural enhancements in Comfy for ArchViz. I think you'll have to elaborate. What do you mean exactly? Just use architectural photography for my reference? Is that kind of what you're asking? Ooh, look at this, folks. This is like a lot more interesting now. Because as you can kind of tell, it's following a similar undulating motion as the video on the right. And it's really interesting now. Really interesting. Let's go even crazier with this. Let's bump it up to like 0.85. I want to see this mask bleed through really well. So let's do that. Oh, but before we do that, let's reduce our frame count. So I'm gonna skip every other frame. Oops, wrong one. I'm gonna skip every other frame of this mask, which will in effect bring us down to 60 total frames instead of 120. And it's also probably gonna speed up the velocity of our video, but we can play with that after the fact and adjust it back down. But at least now we're working with far fewer frames than we were before, and therefore quicker rendering times. What are you doing, man? I'm giving a demonstration on a program that I like to use called Comfy UI, and it's for generating AI images and videos with very fine-grained control. Doing well, Sharik. How are you? I have a few ArchViz images. I don't know how to use Comfy to enhance or make it better. I don't think I know what ArchViz is. Could you elaborate on what that is? And just so you know, folks, we have about 12 minutes left before I gotta kind of wrap things up, but I think this is a pretty good spot that we've gotten to, if I do say so myself. You know what? Maybe, okay. We'll try that after. Ooh, look at this. This is cool. Very interesting. Architectural visual I can't talk. Visualization. Interesting. Okay. Is that like architect speak, like blueprints and things like that? Or things that you would render in like certain software? like real estates? What exactly are you trying to do with those images? Like, what would you hope to do with them inside of Comfy, as far as like editing them and transforming them? You want to upscale them or just like image to image them? This is really cool looking, by the way. I really like it. Actually, let's we want to bring this over to image to mask. Maybe. Image to mask. Let's see. No. Maybe this isn't Well, let's try something. Let's try that. No, that's not going to work. Okay. Little out of my element there. But that's okay. Let's yeah, let's bring the weight of this down to 0.55, I think is a good one. We'll run that again. Where would be a good place to start for someone wanting to get into creating images and videos like these? That's an excellent question. And my answer would be, for one thing, hopefully these streams are doing some good as far as I know that it's not very comprehensive. I'm moving kind of at a quick pace. So I guess it isn't meant to be that educational, but more of like a Cliff Notes type of thing. But I will tell you that, well, okay, if you want to get started now with learning, I do like directing people over to a channel that I really like called Purz Beats on YouTube. P-U-R-Z is his name. And this is him right here. He gives really good live streams, very comprehensive, very lengthy, but kind of just walks you through some of the things you can do in Comfy, how to get started, how to do advanced things like that. But also, if you can hold out for a few more weeks, I will be releasing a course that covers all the fundamentals of Comfy UI, as well as gets you up to a place where you can make videos just like the one you see right here. So that should be just on the horizon. Really excited to release it. And I'll be announcing a lot more about it here on Instagram in the coming days. Ooh. Now we're talking. Pretty cool. What did I do here? Let me try and memorize what I started with evolved sampling. I brought it down to M models. Yeah. Oops. Actually, let's, come on. Apply animate diff model. No, that's not the right one. Okay. Yeah, so apply animate diff model. Okay, that's the right one. Cool. Okay, so it's motion LoRa, it's the model itself, motion scale, and context. I'm gonna have to do a deep memorization of this stack so that in the future I can do it from scratch. Hey Dizzy, thank you so much. I'm new and I have to say, yeah, it can be very complex, absolutely. It can spiral out of control quite fast, but it's also quite graspable, like if you really commit to it. And I say that with confidence because for the longest time, this program overwhelmed the hell out of me, literally. I wanted to learn it so bad, and it was just every time I would start and try, it would just overwhelm me and I would give up. And a few weeks later, I would try again. And I don't know, just one day something clicked, and I guess I just wanted it badly enough. And I was seeing what people were posting on Instagram, all these crazy videos that they're making, which are just unbelievable, and started asking some of the creators, hey, how are you doing this? And that's really when the rabbit hole started, when I really started getting into Comfy. But my best recommendation would just be to find like an educator that you resonate with, whose voice or whose teaching techniques really speak to you, because I think the teacher makes all the difference. Some teachers are great, some suck, and it really just depends on the individual. But if you can find someone who you're really like happy to listen to and learn from, that will play a huge role. How can you make this type of videos? That is a very good question. Very loaded question. Good but loaded. I'm using a program called Comfy UI personally. That's what you're looking at on screen. And yeah, it's quite a process. It uses a sequence of nodes that all speak to each other and do different things, like control the amount of frames in your video, the resolution, the amount of motion, all kinds of different things, the prompt. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sharik, for that comment. That's awesome to hear. Let me think how I can adapt this just a little further. I'm going to add one more IP adapter. What that's going to allow us to do is add one additional image as style reference, because right now we're drawing from 2 different images for the styling. Let's try and introduce a third just for fun. So okay, first of all, I'm going to probably move all of these old videos out of our way because they're kind of taking up space. Yeah, let's move these down. And let's move this back on over here. Okay, let's expand out our IP adapter group so that we can add just one more. And that will go right here. And that, yes, I'll pass that on through to there. And we should be good. IP adapter, IP adapter, IP adapter. Beautiful. So we're going to use a third image now as our input. Let's do this one. Ooh, interesting. So we've got Zeus, we've got Hell, and we've got an Egyptian tiger, it looks like. Let's try mashing all 3 of them together and see what we get. Are there any mobile apps available that you could or would recommend for creating AI images and video on the go? Great question. Yeah, absolutely. There are many solutions to that, most of which will be, browser-based, cloud-based applications, obviously. As far as I know, there's not a lot of great, locally run options to run locally on the phone, although I think some companies are working to make that a reality soon. But until then, you're going to have to probably use websites like Ideogram, like Runway. Runway.ml is a really solid one. Very good. And they also have an app that you can download and interface with it that way. But this is a really, really good AI video generator and is probably the most realistic one on the market at the moment, arguably. But then for images, I would say just use either Midjourney or Ideogram or some of the really good options. Midjourney is mainly used through Discord, although I think you can use their website too. And Ideogram is a website. So, okay. Trippy. So let's do this. So as you can kind of see, hopefully, is the one on the left here is the result of all 3 of these images. The one on the right here is the result of just these 2 images. But you can already see the difference it makes by adding that third. It's quite interesting. You're welcome, Charming. Absolutely. Thanks for the question. Pretty cool. Tired, you guys. I think I'm gonna park it here. But I think we got a lot done today. In fact, I know we did. But, thank you for stopping in today. Really enjoyed having you. Enjoyed the questions. And yeah, really cool crowd. Great energy. Really like you guys. Really, really appreciate it. So until next time, have a beautiful day or night. Is this what I do professionally? Yeah, at this point, this has basically become my career. And I'm very fortunate to be able to say that, just, you know, with the clients that I get and everything. But yeah, I made a really huge effort to make this into my new career. I used to be a web developer and a graphic designer, but I just really wanted to make this into my new thing because I'm obsessed with it. It's what I love doing. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Kirthi. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. Yeah, goods have been delivered, hopefully. Have a great night, you guys, or day. I don't judge. Take care.